Alright, welcome back. This is a video of me painting and talking. I'm painting the battens for the roof over the hole. Yeah, some fella commented once saying that, it'd be great, I can love to watch you paint while you're talking crap. So here it is, painting and talking crap. If you learn something, it's good. If you don't, I hope you're entertained. And if you're not interested in it, then fast forward to the end or go to the next video. You don't have to watch it. And my car hasn't been starting very well. Turned out it was the solenoid on the starter motor. So I still haven't replaced the starter motor, but I'll do that one day. I've got to go and visit a mate of mine who's got a hoist, because it's a lot easier to do from the bottom with the passenger side front wheel removed. And because it's sort of interesting, because to get to the top bolt on the starter motor, there's a air conditioning drain hose that goes through the firewall. So if you pull that out, then you can get to the top bolt for the starter from the inside of on the passenger side. You can poke a socket through with a little universal joint on there and get to the top bolt on the starter. So I don't know whether that's an engineered thing, whether they planned it that way, or whether it just happened to work out like that. But either way, it's pretty neat. And because it's a V6, it's underneath the exhaust manifold, so it's a bit of a pain. That's why it's a lot easier on a hoist. I could do it on the ground, but then you got to sort of jack it up and take the wheel off. Normally when I'm working on underneath the car, I've got on wheel ramps. You can't really have it on the wheel ramps when you're taking the wheel off. You've got to have a stand or something, or it could get a bit dodgy, and I don't really want to have a car fall on me. That'd be bad. And it's a 18-year-old Toyota, so it's not like it's failed prematurely. I think it's got about 250,000 Ks on it, so it's not, I suppose, not too bad for a car that old. Still goes okay. You can see my Holy t-shirt. It's the last time I'm going to wear that t-shirt, and I put it on, and the holes have got bigger. Didn't think they'd get smaller, but you can see the one on the front. There's one on the back that's even bigger. So when I've finished this painting, that t-shirt's going to come off and go in the bin. But it's about I reckon this t-shirt's about 30 years old. I've had that. I was trying to work out, I can't remember where I got it, but I can remember about 30 years ago wearing it. So it's done me alright. And you probably got a glimpse of my safety boots I've got on. I'm not doing anything heavy, so worst thing I can do is drop a bit of plank of wood on my foot, which will hurt like hell, but probably won't damage it permanently. You can see the mower in the background. I've got to do some mowing later on. I did some the other day. I mowed the bit just down from, you can't see it, but if you just walked away from the camera, you'd end up down where I mowed. And I've got to mow a bit more to the left of where you can see. Mainly to get rid of the St. John's wort. Also get rid of, I just sort of stop it from flowering so it doesn't go to seed. It's pretty invasive, and there's a reasonable amount of it around. So that's the main reason I mow it. The grass is kept under control by those kangaroos, rabbits and deer. They eat most of that, so it can get a bit high this time of year, or probably in a month or so. could be up knee height in some spots, but it doesn't last long. Get into summer and it browns off, and then something eats it. I only say those three animals because I see them around, and I know they all eat grass, so it's probably what's eating all the grass, which is good in a way. It stops it being a fire hazard, but bad in the sense that it indirectly encourages the weeds to grow, because the weeds don't have to compete with the grass for nutrients or sunlight. So it's one of those things. But anyway, so I'll get the mower going and I'll do a bit of mowing later on. Just like I said, stop the St John's wort from flowering. And a few blackberries. I did see a few blackberries down there the other day, so I'll go down there with a mattock one day and just dig them out. Just little ones, so get them while they're small. That'll sort them out. And this bit of wood I'm painting now is a bit of treaded pine. It's all treaded pine. This bit in particular has got the grooves in it, which just seem to be what they used to do, I'll say 20 years ago, maybe less than that, but a while ago the treaded pine had these grooves, longitudinal grooves I'll call them, and at some stage they stopped doing that, and the one on the right is just a flat, smooth piece of timber. So I don't know why they had put grooves in there, but I noticed that they stopped doing it. And that piece there with the grooves, I actually found it on the side of the road, and took it back to where I was living at the time on the ski bars on top of my Corolla. I had my last car was a Corolla. I can't remember what year it was. AE102 was the model. I can't remember what year it was. A good little car. I think it was a 1.8 litre front wheel drive 5-speed manual. That was a good little car, but it was pretty small. Anyway, I brought that thing back on the roof, and it overhung the back probably 3 feet, and the front probably 3 feet as well. And yeah, the front was flopping around, but it didn't have to go far. It was, I don't know, 2 or 3 turns from home. I don't know how it got there. I assume it fell off a car or a truck or something. But and then it sat in the garage at that house for many years. And then I bought it here, which is silly because I could have just bought another one from here. It's a fair way to take it. But I had the ute at the time, so it was no big deal. Just chuck it on the roof racks on the ute. Finally realised it's better to put the paint tin on something a bit higher, so I have to keep bending down. Probably should have done that at the start, but anyway, live and learn. And now I'm using it, so that's good. Getting rid of a bit of junk. I don't know where the other stuff came from, I can't remember. But I've got a habit of buying more than I need. So often have timber left over when I do something. So it might have been something I bought when I was putting the shelves in the shed. But yeah, can't remember. And the reason I'm painting them now is because it's a lot easier to paint them when they're on the ground. And so I do that, get the paint on. Then I don't know about these particular the roof patterns, but certainly the posts and all the outward facing pieces of the roof I'm going to paint in either a dark grey or some sort of green. One thing that I'm good at is procrastinating. Why is that? Give it a lot of thought, but I think it's because I'm sort of afraid of doing something wrong or having to redo it. So I do it and then realise, oh, that's no good, I've got to do it again. Often it's also because it feels a bit overwhelming. I don't know where to start, and I think I could be opening a can of worms. It could expand into a real whole lot of problems to solve or sort out and consume me. So I tend to avoid those sort of situations or any sort of conflict these days. I suppose that's a result of a few things that have happened where things have done that. So one example is the rain hood in my kitchen is stuffed. But it's on a when I bought this place, it was like it when I bought it. It's bolted to these cupboards, and the cupboards are crooked. You can visually see it, and it drives me mad. But I think, if I just change the rain hood, I should fix the cupboards. But that could end up being a huge job. Rip out the cupboards and find more and more problems as I go, and then I might regret having started it and think, I may as well have just got the whole kitchen done and just paid someone to come in and say, hey mate, just replace the whole kitchen. And then they'd ask me all these questions about, what cooktop do you want, what sink do you want, taps, bloody blah blah blah. And it becomes a bit overwhelming because I don't know. Tap's a tap to me. And then, of course, in the back of my mind, I realise, is this fella going to rip me off? Charge me, I don't know, 20 grand for a kitchen that's worth 10, or is it going to bug me every time I open a cupboard? It wobbles, or the doors fall off after a few years. I don't know. I worry about all those things. Because the kitchen I've got at the moment is perfectly functional. It works fine. The rain hood actually works. It's just that the plastic cover on the front that's got all the switches on it has disintegrated over time. So I've sort of dodged it up with a bit of epoxy glue and made it work and safe, but it looks terrible, as well as being crooked. I should measure the angle. I might just quickly pause this. I'll go and measure the angle for the fun of it. I'm back. It's just a bit less than 2 degrees. It varies a bit, but 2 degrees. But it's visually out. I thought it would be more than 2. But anyway, that's a stupid example of procrastination and the things that could go wrong, and how it could, that simple job of replacing the rain hood could just turn into 10 or 20 more things, either that I need to do or I should do. Because I don't really know why it's been put on an angle. I sort of assume that there's a reason it's been installed on an angle, or it's dropped. I don't think it's dropped. I think it was put in that way. And I wonder why. Surely the person who put it in isn't blind, or wasn't blind. But then again, maybe Stevie Wonder was doing home renos back then when the thing was put in. Probably I reckon that kitchen was probably built in the 80s, I'll guess. These little bits go under the back batten, make it a little bit higher. I don't know how I'm going to put them on yet. I'll probably screw these bits in and then angle screw in the other ones, and then use some sort of steel tie down with some clouts or something. I've seen them down at the hardware store. Little bits of sheet steel, galvanised. I assume they're galvanised sheet steel, sort of bent in a way that it's flush against the rafter, and then it turns 90 degrees to go up against the batten. Bit off the topic, but procrastination, it's a thing. And a lot of people think that it's just laziness, which maybe it is, a bit of that too. But I think in my case it's lined like that. Don't want to be overwhelmed with things growing into more than what I can handle, or something turning out worse than what it is now. So I try and change the rain hood, and it ends up being looking even worse, if that's possible. And the same with a lot of things. Interested in people's thoughts on that. I think it's fairly common these days. A lot of people, including me, You get distracted by social media, so your phone's always around, so it's easy to pick it up and have a look what's happening on Facebook or YouTube or stuff like that, rather than, I suppose, planning something out or just doing something, making a start, which is interesting as well, because usually when I do make a start, most things tend to turn out okay. So it's not particularly logical, is it? I'm afraid of something happening that I really know probably isn't going to happen. And if something does happen, it's nearly always something that's quite manageable. Maybe a bit of a setback or a pain in the ass. Got to go into town and get something else from the hardware store or something like that, but it's usually manageable. It just takes in my case, can take some time because I don't go into town that often. But some people are different. They live, 5-minute drive away from a hardware store or something. They can. So one of my missions in life at the moment is to not procrastinate as much. I'm probably not going to change it overnight, but bit by bit and job by job, try and get out of that habit of procrastinating. I think another reason, for me at least, is because sometimes I think, I should go and, or I'd like to go and dig the hole a bit, but I should be doing something else. It's a waste of time. I should go and do something. Like I should research range hoods, for example, go and measure the one that's there, find one that's the same width and about the same height, and see what's available and just go and buy one, and then work out how to put it in, rip the old one out, work out how to put it in, and just not cook anything for a while on the cooktop. Live on baked beans, which is pretty much what I do anyway. Not just baked beans, all those meals in a can. They're the best things in the world, aren't they? I think another thing is trying to decide what to do. Sometimes you're sort of faced with a few options and none of them are particularly good. None of them stand out as being, I'll do it like this. That's the way to do it. Sort of, I could do it this way or that way, and you get hung up on the pros and cons of doing A, B or C. One's better in the long term, one's quicker, one's cheaper, one's more expensive, maybe one's more dangerous, I don't know. All those sorts of things. I'm curious if anyone else has given that much thought, and if it really is something that's increased over time, or whether it's just me now that I'm sort of aware that I'm a procrastinator. Maybe now I look out for it more and I see it more in other people or other things. Maybe it's just what do they call it? Confirmation bias. What do they say? It's like a red car. I never see any red cars on the road these days. Then you go for a drive tomorrow and you see 15 red cars. Something like that. How many red cars do you see on the road these days? You'll see a lot more tomorrow. In a way, procrastination sort of also leads to having too much stuff around the place. Because getting rid of stuff means making a lot of decisions. What to throw away? Is it worth any money? Will I need it one day? Will I be able to get it if I need it one day? Like the scarcity theory. Like I remember when I was a kid, Dad used to straighten out old nails and reuse them. He used to tell me about, in the Depression you couldn't get nails. Even though when I was a kid, you could just go down the shop and buy nails. But you still had that mindset that, one day we might not be able to buy nails, because it happened once in the Depression. Future scarcity is a concern. Not really for me most of the time. I don't have anything that I think I won't be able to replace that I'm going to really need. Sure, there'll be some things that probably can't replace if I throw them out, but I probably won't need them again anyway. So I'm not overly concerned about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Another thing is memories. If I throw something away, it's memories being thrown away, or maybe an obligation if you've got something that used to belong to someone else, or it was a gift, you feel like some sort of obligation to keep it. And maybe you think it's being disrespectful to someone if you throw it away. I've sort of gotten over that to a large degree. I did have multiple sets of, I suppose, cheap spanners and hand tools and things like that. Just a sequence of events with people passing away, and sort of end up with stuff. I tended to just, as I find tools that maybe aren't so flash, and I've got other ones like, whether it's screwdrivers or spanners or whatever, as I come across them, I'll usually put them in the bin or in the scrap metal pile, depending on what they are. That's the progress on the little driveway area. Let's come along the bigs, the middle size, then come over here, and there's the fines, the pyramid of fines. Well, it's a round pyramid, isn't it? Not like a square Egyptian pyramid, but you know what I mean. What's going on down here? More water down there, but well, doesn't hurt. So that's just a quick update, mainly just to let you all know that I'm still around and still doing things, sort of associated with the hole, but not exactly, putting a roof over it. I think it's probably the longest roof I've ever built. Does that make sense? It's the longest in duration, longest it's taken me to build a roof ever. Anyway, that's because this is really a hobby, I suppose. It's not a not something I do because I have to. It's something I do because I want to, so it tends to take a bit of a back seat in terms of life's priorities. But well, that's the way it is. I'll just have to keep on digging.